talk about it. It's related to the border, but it's much bigger than that. And that's the problem with China taking over the Western Hemisphere. Yep. So we've had an 8,000% increase coming over the border of Chinese military men. I'd like to know your thoughts on what you think they're doing here. They're buying up farmland. But then in Latin America, they're making deals with governments. We're not doing the deals. They're buying up infrastructure. They're buying up, resources. They're taking over the Western Hemisphere.
They're taking over the Panama Canal.
So what?
How about the Panama Canal?
It's crazy.
That we built and lost 36,000 people to the mosquitoes. 36,000 people died.
So what will you do? Because there's a lot of people worried about the entire hemisphere now. I mean, we used to worry about things over, far away. This is in our hemisphere. What will you do to stop all the things that are happening, from the farmland to all the ways that they're winning in our backyard? Okay.
So if you remember with China, I turned it around. First of all, I exposed China, because everyone was giving everything, it's a developing nation. I said, this is not we're a developing nation. They're a very rich nation. They're doing very well. But I turned things. I also got along very well with President Xi, but I did something that nobody did. I charged him hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs. We would have lost our steel industry. We would have lost they had to pay hundreds, like close to $500 billion in tariffs. And that was all turning around. And we have tremendous power with respect to China, but we don't have people that know anything about using it. I had a great relationship, but had the election been different, we wouldn't have had fentanyl coming in. I was with Xi, and we just had a very good relationship. He was at Mar-a-Lago for 3 days. It was amazing. We had a good bond. Now, I don't want to act naive. I had, these characters out there, they'll say, look, he loves China, or likes it, or at least wants to run it very strongly, right? And it was very interesting. I said, no, he's a smart guy. Is he a smart guy? Of course he's a smart guy. He's a brilliant guy. The press said, he called Xi brilliant. Look, he runs 1.4 billion people with an iron hand. No, he's not brilliant. Okay, they want me to say he's not a brilliant man. He's a very tough guy. He's a fierce person. When he sees Biden, he can't believe it, okay? Can't believe it. He says, what the hell? I think he thinks that they're playing a joke on him. But what's happening is we have tremendous power over China. China has made, right now we have the largest deficit we've ever had with China, like over $1 trillion. That means they're taking in more than $1 trillion. Think of how bad that is. It's too much. You can't sustain that. But we have tremendous power over China. China built their military because of us. They built all this. They took so much money out of our country. We have great power over China. We can get along with China. I will get along with China. But they respected your president. They really did. He respected me. And they don't respect this guy at all. Nobody does. Nobody does. I mean, you take a look at what's going on in Ukraine. You take a look at what's going on with Israel. You take a look at all this stuff. It's just the whole world is out of control. So Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, is a very tough guy. He's known as a strong man. They always say, he likes strong men. I don't like strong men, weak men. I don't care. He's just a smart guy and tough. He didn't take illegal immigrants. He said, I want Hungarians in my country. I don't need to have my shopping centers blown up. Make little statements like that. But the European Union wasn't exactly thrilled with him. And they asked him recently, they said, what has to be done to straighten out the world? The whole world is blowing up. He said, one simple thing. Elect Donald Trump as president. When he was president, China behaved, Russia behaved, everybody behaved. Don't forget, I stopped, you probably never even you guys, Nord Stream 2 was a pipeline being built. Nobody ever heard of it except me. When I got in, I stopped it. Russia couldn't have their pipeline serving Germany. I said to Germany, so we're taking care of you with NATO, and then you're giving them, the people that we're defending you against, you're paying billions of dollars a month for oil and gas. I said, this doesn't sound right. The whole thing is crazy. And I terminated the pipeline. It was dead. And this guy came in and let him build it. But the Russian pipeline was dead. And yet I got along very well with Putin. But you got to be careful with Putin, because Putin, I'm watching him, and he's doing things now that aren't good. And he's dealing with somebody that has no clue how to play the game. This guy has no clue. It's a very serious problem. Very serious problem.
Yeah, it's a dangerous world.
Let's talk about that in reference to Ukraine then. Okay. You've said often, we wouldn't be in this situation if I were president. But we are now in this situation. Yeah. If you were president again, how do you deal with Ukraine? How do you deal with Putin?
I think I deal very well with him. We're in a much weaker position because he's winning. I mean, look, we can be nice. I asked Orban, I said, who's winning? You know, if you watch the fake news, you think, well, even they aren't saying it now because the spring offensive never happened. The spring offensive was the opposite, okay? But I said, who's winning? He said, they are. He said, they're a warring nation. They've fought Napoleon. They fought Hitler. Ukraine is a very small country by comparison with far fewer people. They're running out of soldiers, you know. And I would get together. I get along very well with Zelensky because don't forget, he was very honorable with impeachment hoax number one. Hoax. They're all hoaxes. Everything they do is a hoax. I have impeachment hoax number one, impeachment hoax number two. I won both of them very easily. But unlike Richard Nixon, who didn't get impeached. He left before the impeachment. His greatest regret, by the way, is that he didn't stay and fight. You know that? His greatest regret. You know, he never fought. He wasn't impeached. He was told he was going to be impeached, and he never stayed. But the Republicans liked me more than they liked him. But what happens is we have to get... Zelensky was great because Zelensky... They called him and they said, when you had that that big magic phone conference, think of the phone conversations in Washington. And here I am, I got a call from one of my secretaries. Could you call him and congratulate him on his victory? Meaning he just got elected president. And I didn't do it. After like 10 times, I said, oh, I'll call him. Thanks, I got impeached. I'm saying, you know, that was Rick Perry. Another genius, greatest debater ever, right? Rick Perry and his debating skills. He calls me up and he says, could you call him? Now, he meant it well because he liked, you know, the energy. I think it was the energy and stuff. So I called him up. And when they called him and they asked him, were you threatened by Trump? He could have done a grandstand and said, yes, I felt it was very threatening. Now, fortunately, the call was taped. If the call wasn't taped, I might not be talking to you right now unless we're talking about a real estate project somewhere. Right. Somehow you don't cover them very big on your show. But the call was taped, and it was a perfect call. In fact, when the Democrats heard it was taped, they had already started the impeachment. They died. When Nancy Pelosi heard that call, she said, he didn't do anything wrong. They got into it. But that call, fortunately, was taped, meaning they had stenographers, 2 military stenographers who were incredible. And they had every word of it down. And it was a lie. The whole thing was a lie. But when they called Zelensky, he could have said, yes, I was threatened. And he didn't say that. He said, no. That was a very nice call. He said nothing wrong. That was very nice. So I have a warm spot.
Have we given him too much money?
Yes, so we give him too much. Well, you're just delayed.
People are mad about it.
You said you could end it on day one.
I think I said I could end it before I get to the White House. I expect to end it. I think I can end it very quickly. I get along very well with Putin, and I get along with Zelensky. And I would get him in a room, and I would get it ended.
Good.
I'll get it ended. And I have an exact plan as to how, but I can't tell you that. You know, I can't tell you about, like, let me tell you exactly, let me lay out my cards. No, I will get it ended.